Woo! Welcome to the Made in Bloomsbury podcast. I'm here with Jake. Hi, Jake.
Hey, Michael, thanks for having us on.
Thanks for coming on. Jake, could you tell our audience a little bit about yourself? Maybe a quick bio.
Yeah, sure. So I am the co-founder of Stix, and Stix is an online marketplace dedicated to men's sustainable fashion. What we do is we basically collate a collection from some of the UK's leading independent brands, a collection of menswear. And the idea behind it is to make it simple and convenient for people, and I say people because about 50% of our customers are women actually, for people to buy quality, stylish menswear that also is good for our planet. And the goal for us is to, as well as make it convenient for our customers, to also therefore do our part to try and change the fashion industry, which is one of the worst polluters in the world.
Nice. Sounds very inspirational. Now I'm wondering, what is your inspiration?
Yeah, so I've always loved nature. I'm happiest when I'm outside in nature. I'm passionate uh, about nature. I just love it, and that has morphed into a passion for sustainability. Particularly as I've got older, I've also become a dad. I think I want to make sure that my son inherits a healthy, clean earth and gets to see all the stuff that I get that I get to experience. So that the passion is nature, and then it's morphed into sustainability and a desire to protect it. My journey to sustainable fashion is a bit of a kind of a long one, but my day job is I run a tech recruitment company, which is fine, but it's never been my passion. Nature has, and a couple of years ago, I decided to do something about my passion, and I started a podcast on sustainability called The Green School. And we basically would take an everyday product. In that episode, we'd interview someone. So we did tampons, beer, nappies, coffee cups. We did Christmas trees as well. We did all sorts. We'd get an expert on, and we'd talk about what was unsustainable and how you could make small changes in your everyday life to live sustainably. And one of the earliest episodes we did was on jeans. We interviewed a sustainable jeans company in the Netherlands, and that was the first time I realised I learned how bad fashion was. I knew fast fashion was bad, Shein and Boohoo, etc. But it's just generally the fashion industry, and it contributes up to 10% of global greenhouse gas emissions right now. So it sucks. And we did that episode in 2021, and ever since then, it wouldn't leave me alone. I wanted to do something about it, and obviously I'm a man, and that's kind of where Sticks came from. We set it up in 2024, but the driver was learning how bad fashion was and wanting to change it. So, in answer to your question about what inspires me, it's not that I'm necessarily passionate about sustainable fashion. I'm passionate about protecting the planet, and it's just that I've landed on fashion because it's an industry that needs to change.
Okay. What are the biggest challenges for getting a business off the ground?
Well, I think it, one of the biggest problems is we're an e-commerce business, and that has led to all sorts of different challenges that I didn't appreciate. I'd never run an e-commerce business before, right? So, um, the first thing is traffic and sales. So, I think I was naive. I thought I'd build this and people would come. And what I have subsequently learned is that 5, 10 years ago, it was possible or it was easier to build an e-commerce business. Um, and build an audience through organic marketing, organic social media, not paid, basically. It is now so crowded, and the big social media networks in particular have made it so difficult that you need budget. Really, it's really really tricky unless you have budget to drive traffic. And that's kind of one of the biggest challenges we face. With no budget, we're doing this on a shoestring, we're trying to bootstrap it. How do we drive an audience? So that's been kind of one of the biggest things. Linked to that has been the economics of it. We charge a small percentage on every sale. That's how it makes money. But because the commission is so low, and when you take out things like Shopify fees and things like this, we haven't actually got any budget to do paid marketing and actually make money at the moment. So it's something we're grappling with still. Um, there's the other problem then has been about also around like audience. People tell you that sustainability is important to them, Everyone says it. You look at all these surveys that are done by big, by McKinsey does an annual fashion report, and every year it's like 40 to 50% say sustainability is the most important thing or one of the most important things. What we found is it's not true. People say it, but they don't act on it. What's important for them is price or style or quality. So early on, we were very, very focused on the sustainability message, but we've had to pivot and actually more talk about the style, the quality of these items, the convenience as well, because what we sell is not cheap. And oh, by the way, a a kind of a byproduct, a bonus is the sustainability. So you have to come at it at a different angle. Um, and I think kind of the final thing is kind of been mental clarity, and this is a personal thing for me. I obviously I run the recruitment business is mine. Well, I co-own it, so I run one business in the day, and I'm trying to do this in the night. And I think sometimes having mental clarity, being able to segment the two, has proved quite difficult. And trying to kind of keep that separation, keep the focus while running two startups like this has been really kind of a challenge. But I've learned a lot. But I think those are probably the biggest challenges we faced, kind of a couple of ones around the business, around the messaging, and then kind of the personal challenge of running two businesses.
Sounds quite intense. And now I'm wondering, what have been the biggest lessons learned so far?
Yeah, lots of lessons, lots of lessons. I'll kind of start with stuff I'd do differently, and a couple of things I think maybe I've learned that maybe I was right on, if that makes sense. The first thing, taking the more negative ones, not negative, the ones that I could have done better. The first thing is find the right co-founder. So I started this with someone else, and we were never aligned on why we were doing it. He wanted to just make money quickly. He wasn't willing to put in. He was a great guy, to be clear. He's still a friend, but he saw it as a business that would make money quickly, and I always knew it wasn't going to be that. And I was always doing it not to make money necessarily, but to try and make change. So we didn't align, and that was probably one of the biggest issues. And I found another co-founder where we are aligned. So I think finding a co-founder where you're actually aligned as to what you want from it that's crucial. Um, the second thing is more market research. So, as I mentioned in the last question you asked, I did kind of build it and think people would come. But what I didn't do, what I'd have done differently is done more in-depth research. So kind of work out who is this targeted at? Kind of it's not just men, but specifically what sort of men, what are their values, who are they? That's particularly important in e-commerce and particularly important in fashion, something I didn't think kind of clearly enough. And I didn't look at the economics of it enough. What if we were going to charge the commission we do? How many items do we need to sell a month to cover our costs or to make money so that we can reinvest into the business? And I think I just kind of plunged in without doing that. And I know that you can, on the flip side, you can do too much research and you can never get started. But I think I would have maybe done a bit more of that. And linked to that, kind of the final thing was kind of fail faster. I've obviously I'd read all the books, and I still didn't fail fast enough on this. Like we're looking at pivoting, basically, potentially looking at making our own clothes. I wish I would have failed faster, basically. And I know that it's one of those truisms you hear, and you're like, okay, yeah, but you don't really. And maybe until you get into the situation, it becomes clear why people say it. I think I'd have failed faster, learnt faster, and I think that's been a really big kind of mental change I've had to do over the last couple of years. Um, Taking two that I think maybe is reinforced what I did believe. One is I'm going to use a quote from Jeff Bezos. He said, "You should never compromise on the vision, but compromise on the details." I saw that one recently, and I think that's really true. Like the vision is to change men's fashion to make it more sustainable. However big an impact we have, whether it's small or big, that's the vision. And I was right to focus on that, I believe. But the detail can change. So, for example, we started as a marketplace, but now we're looking at actually maybe we have to take more ownership and make our own stuff. So we're looking at that. So I think, whatever your vision is, stick to it because you're going to get tested. The other thing was everyone has advice, And what I found is that I've spoken to lots of people, including experts, and everyone will tell you something: do this, do that, do this, do that. Most of them have never tried to do it from scratch. Take marketing, for example. You speak to loads of marketing experts who have worked in big companies with tens of millions of dollars worth of budget where they can do everything and they have a team to do it, etc. They've never done it a bootstrap startup where you have to do it, you have to implement it. So I think you should ask for advice and people will always help, and it's great. If you ask people for help, on the whole, they will help you, but you need to take it with a pinch of salt. And I think you have to be very careful who you seek out and which advice, how much weight you give to advice. And personally, the best advice I've had is from other founders or entrepreneurs who have been where I've been and who have done it, and understand the challenges of doing something on no budget. And actually, one more, I'm just going to add to it, Michael, one more I remember: get a mentor. I started off doing this just, me and my co-founder. You're in the weeds. It's really difficult. Through my pen, that's how hard it was. It's really tricky. It's really hard sometimes to see the wood from the, what's the phrase? Wood from the trees. You're just in it. And I got a mentor who was an entrepreneur, a successful entrepreneur, and I would meet him every 2 weeks, and he would just help unblock my head and see a path ahead because he wasn't in the middle of it. So the final lesson for me, which I wish I'd done sooner in my journey, was get a mentor.
Wow. Thank you so much for your time, Jake, and for this all this knowledge.
No, thanks, Michael. I mean, I'm more learning through failure, and I'm still failing every day. But I think it's a great way to learn being an entrepreneur. So I'm enjoying it. But yeah, thank you very much for having me on.